So you can see the actual invoices, so to speak, listed in a warrant register report. So you'll have the warrant number, the date it was issued, the vendor, the amount of that check, and a brief description as to what that was paying for. So if there are questions with regard to our expenditures, and they should tie to these reports also, that's what I'm moving towards. The initial report that I requested, I'm still trying to reconcile. We've got something with our Munis system as to when you put a payment in and what month it gets reported for. So I'm trying to work some bugs out with regard to that. But I would like to bring that and present that to the committee along with this financial status update. So there will be a reporting of actual warrants that the district issues out of the bond fund. So hopefully that will generate questions with regard to individual warrants and individual payments the district makes with regard to the bond program. Yes, ma'am.
Hi. So I'm looking at the monthly financial report. Revised budget. Revised as a revised since what? Revision of what?
So the board adopts the budget in June for fiscal year 14-15. And then throughout the year, budget adjustments are made to the budget. Those get reviewed by the school board at first interim and then at second interim, and more or less approved by the board at those times. So an updated budget goes to the board in the first interim report and also in the second interim report.
When are those interim reports produced?
The board approved the first interim, I believe, in December, and the second interim report is being finalized currently and will be going, I think, later this month to the board.
So about mid of the fiscal year. And so the revision is a revision since the adoption.
That's correct. So as of October 31st, I believe, is the first interim, and as of December 31st or January 31st is the second interim. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mark, so I really appreciate the way this is evolving with your page 1 and page 2, and as you say, I think next month we're going to have somehow a fuller kind of, and again, looking at the traditional ways that you would share this information with the board and all that. So my big question on page 2 though is, remember last month we identified that, clearly the outer months, the future months are still budget projections, whereas I just wonder when do we expect that the month is actual? So we're looking here at cash flow January 2015, and should we therefore assume that here we are meeting in February, and therefore the January column is all actually, and February, March, etc. are all budget projections?
That's correct. So when I give you the cover that says as of January 2015,
Okay.
the information that's being presented to the committee will be as of the last day of January for both the cash flow report and the financial status report.
Okay, so, all right, so the month, as you say, is called out on the cover sheet, is actual, and every month before that is actual also, and then every month after that is the budget projection.
Yeah, and I'm pulling this information straight off of our Munis system, and like I said, when I ran the first vendor report, or warrant report, there was some reconciliation to be done, and I still need to figure out with regard to when people put in invoices to be paid and when the actual button gets pushed to print those checks, there's some reconciling that needs to be done, and I'm still trying to figure out what that is.
Yes. In regards, again, on the revised budget, my understanding is that would reconcile with the March, or the October 31, 14 interim audit, is that, interim financials?
They do get approved, however, as we go through month to month, there may be budget adjustments done after the first interim, so there may be some budget adjustments that are happening in December to get bills paid that
What
will
is
be,
the
that will be
authority?
approved by the board
Okay.
within the second interim.
What is the authority for those subsequent budget adjustments if they aren't going to the board? In other words, what do you use as the authority? I understand you use the first interim as the authority, and you use the original budget as the authority, but subsequent to the first interim, what do you use as the authority? Because I've not seen these budget adjustments on the board agenda.
Typically, the budget adjustments are within the major object numbers, so they should all be within the 6,000s or the 5,000s, the 4,000s. If there are budget adjustments between the major objects, those are the ones that get approved by the board interim period. So we can move, legally, district can move 6,000 object budgets within the 6,000 object codes. The same with the 5,000s and the 4,000s.
So that's not my question. If you add $25 million to Pinole Valley High School, what's the authority for that budget adjustment if it isn't approved by the board? And it's reflected here, so I'm having trouble reconciling the numbers. The budget numbers.
If you'd like to meet with me with regard to that specific, I don't believe that's in here. With regard to anything, any budget adjustments with regard to Pinole Valley High
Well,
School.
how about Aroni or some other schools? I mean, I cannot tell what budget adjustments have been approved and which haven't been, based on your statement as what the revised budget number is. I think that's an accurate statement, is that correct?
Can you restate that?
I do not think I can reconcile the revised budget with the approved budgets on the board agenda.
The board does budget adjustments, first interim and second interim.
Got it. And what
I don't know how to be more explicit than that.
Well, the budget adjustment after October 31 is the ones I'm concerned with.
As I stated, they would be between the major object numbers, which doesn't need board authorization.
Okay, so if you add $25 million to Pinole Valley High School, it doesn't need board authorization, that's what you're saying?
Not if it's included in the budget approved by the board already. That's
Yeah, I
correct.
understand that. That's Calvin?
Yeah, just looking at the report you presented last month and compared, what's classified salaries?
Those employees that don't need a certificate
Okay.
to be employed, so for example, accounts payable staff, myself, portions of the associate superintendent, clerical staff.
The only reason why I asked, you had projected in January 142.5, but actual is 184.
That can be explained.
Okay.
There were two resignations that occurred in the month of December, or prior to, and there were vacation payouts that occurred in the month of January, that were substantial. That's what they were for. They were for resignations that had accrued vacation to be paid out.
Does vacation money be paid out of the
Vacation will get paid out of wherever that employee is charged to. So those employees were working under the bond program, and subsequently their vacation was paid out of the bond program.